why one should make more money. You're asking how to make more money.
So the elephant in the room, that's why there's an elephant foot. Like, we got to learn how to make money. So the first principle is, instead of looking for what you can get in life, start thinking about what you can give. Your ability to make money is 100% dependent on your ability to give. The more you give, the more you'll get in your life. But I have a funny story to share with you that involves my wife. So honey, hang in there. I might have to Uber tonight, but we'll see what happens, okay? I went to see my therapist because my wife and I had a big old argument. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to go talk to Joan because she's going to protect me. She's going to say, what an evil woman you married. How could she treat you like this? I know this is what she's going to say, so I'm just waiting. So I booked the session, of course. I'm like, honey, you don't need to go to this one. I know it's family's therapy, but I'm going to go by myself. All right, so here's the situation. Let me set it up for you. My wife has a computer. It's Mac, right? Of course. And she's like, oh, my Mac is busted. Can you fix this for me? I'm like, what do I look like? An IT guy? I get in there. She just leaves because she don't even want to see how it's done. She just leaves. I'm going to go to the market. I get into it. It's a pretty easy problem. I fixed the problem. And then I see on her desktop 1,004 files. I'm like, how could a human being work like this? This is just untidy. This is wrong. Let me help her out. Okay. Hold on. Give me a second. All the way, we're like, oh, I know how this story ends. And yes, you're right, but just follow along, everybody. It's linear, okay? So I'm like, let me create a folder. Oh, that looks like work. All the work. Oh, family photos. 3 or 4 folders. I'm waiting on the couch. My wife comes home, throws the groceries on the counter. Problem's fixed, honey. You're the best. Thank you. I'm sitting there. Wait till you see what I've done. I'm sitting there. There's no thank yous. What's going on? Where are my files? Like, they're there. Like, what are you looking for? Your taxes? They're right there. Your work files right there. And she blew up at me. She's like, put all my files back. And I was like, ingrate. I fixed your computer. I'm like, free IT support. I organize your files. It's super tidy. And I get mad at her. I'm like, God, I never want to do anything for you again. This is stupid. I'm gonna call Joan. I go to Joan. Joan, can you believe the horrible human I married? What a mistake I've made in my life in trying to do this. And what Joan said to me was, Chris, why did you organize those files? I love my wife, Joan. I was raised that way, kind of like that. Did she ask you to do that? No. I'm supposed to anticipate these things. That's what I'm supposed to do, right? She goes, here's the thing. You do it because you want to help her, right? You want to make sure what you're doing is being perceived as being helpful. Oh, what a new concept that is. So I've been doing this wrong the entire time. So I said, what am I supposed to do? She says, when people give you a request or a command and you're not clear, stop. Do not do it. Say this instead. I would love to help. I don't have enough information. I want to make sure what I'm doing is perceived as helpful. Next thing, my wife's asking me to do something. I'm like, honey, I did the exact same script. You've been seeing Joan, haven't you? That does not even sound like you. Like, don't hate me because I'm a good student. There's a lesson here. I swear. It's not just me, but talking about my wife and my horrible ways of doing things. You got to make sure what you're doing is being perceived as helpful. So if you want to give somebody something, make sure it's valuable to them first. This is a very important lesson because many of you will try to help people and you'll have the exact same reaction that I got from my amazing wife, but you won't have a therapist to help you out. So we need to define what success looks like through the eyes of the person that you're trying to help. This is a client thing. It's not a relationship thing, although you can use for both. It's a 2-for-1 special tonight. And I really believe in this. And I love this quote from Zig Ziglar. Apparently I've been saying it wrong, so I'll just read it here. You can have everything in life you want if you would just help other people get what they want. A concept that I want you to get intimately familiar with, whether you're a student, you're a working professional, you're a veteran, whatever it is to understand the 2 B's, because you have to measure the progress that you're going to make because people will pay you for the difference between where they are and where they want to go. So when somebody says, make this campaign, make the logo better, make this website work better, don't run away saying, I know how to do that. So you want to make sure you establish what the baseline is. What is it we're doing today with the website? How's the logo being perceived? How many units are you selling per month with the package? How are people rating their satisfaction with their meal or their experience walking through this exhibit? Measure that first, and then set a realistic goal, a benchmark about where they want to go. Now, oftentimes I'll ask somebody, what do you need help with? What would you like me to do with you? Like, I'd like to make $1 million. I'm like, great, we can do that. Where are you at today? What did you do last year? $44,000. That does not sound realistic, does it? Like, no, but you asked me what I wanted. Yeah, but it needs to be realistic. We got to be able to accomplish this. So we pull it back, 67,000. That sounds a lot more realistic to me. We can do that. And so we work on that together. And then we look at challenges and we work through that. So when you're trying to work with your client, your teacher, make sure you know what the goalpost looks like. And when you'll cross it, you'll know because it's clearly defined. Getting back to this concept of you got to give to get. I love sharing these stories because it's affirming a fundamental belief that I have. Do you guys know the Chutzpah sisters? They're amazing human beings. I had them as a guest on our YouTube channel channel, and they were just talking about design. And then one of the sisters, I think it was Jen, reached out to me and said, hey, Chris, do you have this kind of pay service? I'm like, how come? I need to send you some money. What for? We booked a client because we're on your channel. That's never happened to me before. And it feels great. And I'm like, you don't have to send it. No, we have to send it to you. Send her our PayPal account. She sent over the money. And she's like, it's 10%, right? Yes. And so I'm a big believer in this, in that we entirely focus too much on what we can get from other people, from relationships, from clients, from teachers, that we never sit down to think about what we can give to them. I believe in this. There's this principle, right? The karmic equity thing, where the more good you do in the world, the more goodwill comes back to you, not necessarily in one-to-one relationship. And I was listening to a guy, his name is Alex Hormozy. He wrote this book, $100 Million Offers. And he said he believes this. Give as much as you can. Do not ask for anything. Do this for as long as possible, because every time you give, when you give to your audience, your community, to your clients, just give as much as you can. It compounds in interest over time. Every time you ask for something, the count gets drained back to zero. So if you look around in your inbox on social media, you see this immediate transactional thing, give, get, give, get, give, get. They want to ask you for something right away. And they wonder why their engagement is so low. They wonder why people block them, even with the best intentions. Even if you've ever gone to one of these 90-minute webinars where they teach you for 40 minutes, and then at the last 5 minutes, they hard sell you, how does that make you feel? You're like, oh, I see. This was all about you converting me, making me a customer of yours. So our entire business model is built around this concept, is to give as much as possible while asking as little as possible. And then you start to activate the law of reciprocity. Dr. Cialdini writes about in his book, The Psychology of Persuasion, that human natures, we've figured out how to cooperate and work with each other in a social structure such that when you borrow a cup of sugar, you're going to want to return it. And you don't always return it in equal measure. Sometimes you go above and beyond. There's a lot of psychological experiments around this, and it's been proven that most decent, well-meaning people will reciprocate in ways that far exceed the initial value. And one of the tests, they were following around the Hare Krishnas, how they would offer you a book that you don't want to read, and they would ask you for a donation. And they saw a lot of money coming that way. And then they would follow them, and they realized people threw the books in the trash because of this guilt. They activated the reciprocity principle. So the Hare Krishnas quickly figured out books are heavy, they're throwing them in the trash, so now they just offer you a flower and they'll get the donation. You'll also notice in restaurants, they give you that mint right before the bill comes out, or some little dessert, and that activates your reciprocity so that you want to give a bigger tip. So I incorporate this into our business model. And taking it a step further, talking about Seth Godin for a second, he defines marketing in a very different way that I think is important for us to understand. The marketing is the generous act of helping other people get what they want. And then therefore, permission marketing, one layer deeper, is you engaging with people who voluntarily raise their hand to participate in a long-term marketing campaign with you of increasing value. So those of you who want to learn how to grow a social following, build a bigger audience to have more influence in the world, think about it like the way teachers think about it. You build a curriculum. So the first part is easy, something that goes at scale. Maybe it's a podcast, a YouTube video. It's some things that you share on social media, lessons you've learned, tools that you've given. The next step up might be to buy a book, a $25 book. So now you're packaging the totality of what it is you know about a specific subject, and you're asking them to engage a little bit deeper, and you keep going deeper and deeper of increasing value until they get to the point in which they give you $45,000 to design a logo. And that's how you're supposed to build a relationship. You just keep giving more than what you're asking for. Hormozy again says, if you're so good at giving, you won't even have to ask. They will ask you. To bring it back to the Chutzpah sisters, I didn't have to ask them. You just give. And this is just a notification. Anybody who's been on our YouTube video, you know what to do next.